Joe Rogan is undoubtedly problematic. Everyone seems to know this. But what about the celebrities who come onto his show? Do they face equally unfortunate fates? Whatever the case, BTS is here today to reveal our list of the top 10 celebrities who destroyed their careers on Joe Rogan. I'm your host Michaela, and let's peek beyond the screen. In at number 10, Miley Cyrus. Miley's pretty much been besties with controversy since her early teen days, transitioning from Disney's biggest star of her era to pop culture's most scandalous it girl. So when the singer sat down for the notoriously unfiltered podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, to take part in a 3-hour discussion with its host, the equally candid superstar dished everything one could think of. Eager fans were tuned in to witness Miley's brutally honest revelations, from roasting Joe himself to uncovering some unfiltered truths like her divorce process and how she's been branded cold-hearted by exes for treating them as if they don't exist. Miley did not hold back. In fact, the Hollywood icon did exactly what was expected of her. And we have her most highlighted moments that could be argued as controversial, ready for your awaiting ears. As per Pop Crave, Miley informed Joe how she believed her singing voice elevated after she and Liam Hemsworth lost their old house to a fire. On top of the admission prior, the singer revealed how her split from Liam sucked and was far from what people assumed. Then Miley also got into her fallout with the VMAs over a stage issue, dishing to Joe about how the directors for her performance made disrespectful comments towards her after she asked to be treated like any other male performer. Not an artist to ever shy away from seeing her creative desires being met thoroughly, Miley was unabashed when she admitted how the VMA directors came for her for their attempt to stage her performance with a beauty light. After requesting the light be removed due to hindrance, Miley stated they told her, "You want to be treated and lit like a guy, we wouldn't be dealing with this if a guy was doing it." Before we break down the rest of today's list, be sure to tap our notification bell for more celebrity content, as it really helps our channel. In at number 9, Elon Musk. Elon's former but still ongoing Twitter battle for dominance most recently seen him suing Microsoft over the company pulling Twitter's ads from their platform. But this big boss is no stranger to scandals, and this was only one of many. Between fraud and a series of other allegations, Elon's best skill outside of manufacturing electric vehicles and producing spaceships is making headlines. He's normally really good at rising from falling, but has been relatively quiet on his end, as not a lot of people still talk about or share news on him. He's had run-ins with East and Southeast Asian countries like China and Thailand and the government, accusations of fostering toxic, racist, and sexist working environments thrown at him, and engaged in feuds with the general public over why he feels the need to throw money at everything. And that's not even half of the things he's actually done. So while these problems may never truly get rid of Elon entirely, it also doesn't stop the massive hits to his career that comes with it. In at number 8, Kanye West. We know how much Ye was widely condemned for his less recent slew of anti-Jewish comments. However, much like the others on today's list, this rapper holds even more priors of making controversial remarks. Right after his public hate comments, Ye defended his actions by stating, "Black people are actually Jew also," adding, "You guys toyed with me and tried to blackball whoever opposes your agenda." He also accused recording producer Diddy of being controlled by, quote, "the Jewish people." Naturally, many people criticized his remarks, and several brands severed their ties with him. Celebrities were also quick to speak out against the rapper for his then actions. But before this, Ye made several other comments deemed hateful, including suggesting that slavery was by choice and referring to the health shot during unprecedented times as the mark of the beast. There was also the White Lives Matter issue and his public vocal support for former US President Donald Trump outside of the aforementioned. And we didn't even talk about Taylor Swift. However, to save us all time and our eyes rolling white, we shall move right along. In at number 7, Kevin Hart. I'm sure we all know what controversy is coming because since it occurred, it's been deemed as one of his worst. And that's saying a lot given who exactly we're talking about. From a controversy that kicked off in 2018 and got dragged into 2020, Kevin once stepped away from his opportunity to host the 2019 Academy Awards after the announcement was met with intense backlash. He suggested removing himself from the show after a handful of his other homophobic tweets suddenly resurfaced. His history of being openly homophobic didn't help, especially when he announced in 2015 interviews that he was doing so for the sake of comedy. So when the world discovered he'd be hosting the 2019 Oscars, he and the Academy saw immediate hate. Within minutes, Twitter users were digging up his older tweets and jokes to repost them while stating his actions lacked apologies and should not be rewarded. Even more, on December 6, 2018, Kevin uploaded an Instagram video refusing to apologize. However, the next day, his official statement of stepping down from the event came, and he apologized to those he offended. Since the comedian attempted to discuss the issue in numerous statements, appearances, social media posts, and even through his Kevin Hart Don't F This Up Netflix docuseries. He broke down the Oscars controversy amid several other public issues he was going through at that time. In at number 6, Post Malone. Malone. Not much has been heard of Post recently, ever since the scandal that nearly took out his entire career. He's been on a rather calm, backseat type of vibe since. Still, back in November 2017, the singing rapper was labeled a culture vulture and faced several accusations of appropriation. Post ended up responding to the backlash of his then most recent problematic hip-hop comments, addressing the hate surrounding his Rolling Stone interview, where he suggested to fans looking for life-inspiring lyrics not to listen to hip-hop music. The Sunflower artist further claimed he was a target of reverse racism within the genre. Following the article's publishing, Twitter users expressed their disapproval, entirely aware of the months of culture appropriation accusations Post was seeing ahead of the interview. Post eventually clapped back to the criticism by posting a Twitter video explaining his headspace, noting how the comments were seemingly taken out of context during a drinking interview. Quote, "A lot of people are saying I don't appreciate hip-hop or I'm taking advantage of hip-hop. What I was trying to say is that there are a lot of people saying the same ish, not saying anything super meaningful. Never once did I say that I don't appreciate hip-hop. I'm just trying to keep living and make the music I love." In at number 5, Robert Downey Jr. Back in January, Mexican filmmaker Alejandro Gonzalez stated he was aware Robert would not be apologizing for a formerly offensive comment made about him. 7 years following Robert's initial remark about Alejandro's English vocabulary as a native Spanish speaker, the cinematic creator informed The Independent that he wasn't holding his breath for Robert to step forward with remorse or any apologies, saying, "Of course not. I honestly could not care at all. I'm completely against what he said, but I will defend his right to say whatever he wants. Anything he wants to say is fine, but for me it reads completely the wrong way." Robert's comment took place back in 2015 after Alejandro expressed his negative feelings about Marvel movies to a reporter. In response, Robert chastised in a separate interview for a man whose native tongue is Spanish to be able to put together a phrase like cultural redacted just speaks to how bright he is. September 2022 is when Alejandro decided to initially address the infamous comment, speaking with IndieWire's Eric Kahn and stating, "It was like, oh, you guys from your banana country. If I were from Denmark or Sweden, I might be seen as philosophical, but when you're Mexican and you say things, you're pretentious." In at number 4, Bill Burr. Bill is a comedian known well for being a controversial kind of entertainer, often landing in hot water for things spoken about during his stand-up comedy appearances. His most controversial, arguably, comes from his Saturday Night Live stint. While opening up his monologue, the comedian quipped some rather interesting remarks, according to The Hollywood Reporter. He ranted about cancel culture at the start, expressing how it went so far as literally running out of people to cancel. They're going after dead people now. They're trying to cancel John Wayne. It's like God did that 40 years ago. Further in, Bill also called out white women who he felt, quote, hijacked the woke movement. Bill explained that it was supposed to be about people of color not getting opportunities they deserve, while also arguing how that changed in a blink of an eye. By the end of his spiel, Bill got into Pride Month, questioning why the month felt a little too long to celebrate the community. Quote, "For a group of people that were never enslaved, how did they get all of June?" His argument also pushed a detailed comparison of how black people have a mere 28 days of overcast weather during February. He closed off with the words, "How about you hook them up with July?" In response, which came quick and plentiful, one Twitter user explained, "How about you not pick hosts who say things like gays weren't enslaved, even if his joke is to point out black people suffered more." In at number 3, Tom Segura. In March 2023, an article was posted describing the fire Tom and his wife, Christina Pazitsky, underwent for claiming that the use of washcloths when showering is a poor person's lifestyle. Of course, the two were widely criticized amid the mini clip from the podcast going viral. Their washcloth comment kicked off a massive hygiene-related discourse regarding cleaning habits, with numerous people pointing out the podcaster's ignorance, blatant racist undertones, and dismissive attitude about the situation. On Twitter, various users bashed the couple for their public admissions of being unhygienic and unclean, especially given Tom's mentioning of not washing his feet or legs and not using a washcloth overall. In at number 2, Leah Remini. Scientology, a topic I knew would eventually come around full circle on this channel. Naturally, when we hear Leah's name, it's the first thing that comes up because not only is it her most controversial career aspect, but speaking out about the topic also heavily affected her time in Hollywood. As for Leah, one's whole life is sacrificed to becoming a member of the practice known as Scientology. On top of this, some other facts, according to Leah, are that Scientology psychologists are cruel to reporters, and their church refuses to accept psychiatry as a valid practice. Their leader, David Miscavige, has faced various accusations of being mentally and physically manipulative, and the practice has been blasted for their allegedly desperate devotion to keeping their celebrity members, again, according to Leah. Of course, some of Leah's other allegations have leaned more on the serious side that we just can't get into, but let's just say the response to all of it hasn't been well. And in at number 1, Alex Jones. Yes, the conspiracy theorist who pushed the theory of the violent Sandy Hook tragedy being staged. On top of this, Alex has had some other rather controversial public statements. While some are incredibly crude and out there, others fall on the side of arguably weird and odd, including the government and their supposed weather weapons. Yeah, I know, but stay with me here. Alex isn't just a believer of the secretive forces working to control people's minds. Oh no, he's also been a lifelong warner about the government's speculated efforts to completely control the weather for their alleged personal agendas. During a 2013 broadcast, Alex claimed there was weather weapon stuff going on, as per a Media Matters produced transcript. In a broadcast over that summer, Alex insisted there was weather-based modification going on. Thanks for tuning in, BTS out!